With a cruising speed of Mach 3.2 and an estimated top speed of Mach 3.5, the SR-71 Blackbird holds 7 aircraft records, including the fastest air-breathing manned aircraft, officially measured at 2,193.2 miles per hour, though its top speed is still classified. In a climb, the aircraft has been known to reach an altitude of 95,000 feet, twice as high as the highest altitude permitted for a commercial passenger jet.
Six presidents used the SR-71 extensively because they had a great sense of confidence that it could in fact go out, collect the information required, and bring it back. Hundreds of missiles were fired at this airplane. I couldn't tell you how many times fighters came up to intercept me. I remember part of our missions when I was flying in the late 70s was fly through rings of SA-5s. So we knew it was a very capable missile system. They weren't concerned too much about the SR, but they were very concerned about others. And they figured we could collect enough information and we could understand how that missile system would work.
The Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-25 is the second fastest jet-powered manned aircraft in the world. It's made to go Mach 2.8, but that uses so much fuel that it can only go that fast for a few minutes. In extreme circumstances, the plane has been pushed to Mach 3.2, but at a cost of major damage to the plane's engines. On the other hand, at Mach 3.2, the SR-71 Blackbird is just getting warmed up.
If we carried the nose camera, which we called the country's camera, it took a picture 72 miles wide. In 64 minutes, you would film 100,000 square miles. The film itself was 10,500 feet long, 5 inches wide. I would say my mission into the Middle East for President Carter was one of the most interesting. It was supposed to be 3 missions, but we picked up all the targets in that first mission that they needed, so that the next 2 missions were canceled.
The Blackbird program, originally called Oxheart, pioneered many of the technologies found only in the most advanced military aircraft today, including an all-titanium airframe, a mostly titanium skin, the use of lightweight composite materials for the rest of the skin and some key components, chines that run down the length of the aircraft to reduce drag and increase lift, a stealthy design that minimizes its radar cross-section, and, in a time before GPS, the ability to circumnavigate the globe with pinpoint accuracy. But the real key to the Blackbird's success came down to 2 things: an extremely aerodynamic design and a very unique engine.
The airplane loved to fly straight and climb and accelerate. Most of the time at altitude, 80 to 85,000 feet, it was kind of like a nice Beamer or a Cadillac. But the airplane sensitivity was on a curve like this. So the faster you went, the airplane became much more sensitive and had to be handled much more delicately. The genius of this airplane was that the faster we went, it's the only airplane in the world, we burned less fuel.
When you look at the Blackbird, you can see the sleekness in its aerodynamic design. Looking at its vertical cross-section, you can see how balanced it is above and below a central horizontal plane. Its delta wing is relatively thin, minimizing its disturbance through the air. When you look at it from above, you can see how its whole body fits within a single, elongated triangle, running from the front pitot tube to the wingtips. This makes sure that the front shockwave created by the nose at supersonic speeds doesn't intersect with the rest of the aircraft, reducing overall drag. Its main body is straight and long like an arrow, with a small amount of taper as it reaches the back to gracefully shed the air flowing above and below the aircraft.
The greatest sonic boom that was ever set up, it was May 1972. 3 SR-71s took off from Okinawa, Japan, and simultaneously overflew Hanoi at the same time. I've talked to the POWs. They said it scared the living daylights out of the guards because they'd never heard a shock like that. It didn't sound like a bomb, and they actually fled. We called the shock wave that came across the ground the sound of freedom.
The interesting thing is that above Mach 2, ramjets are more fuel efficient than turbojets, which means that the Blackbird gets better gas mileage at Mach 3.2 than it does traveling at slower speeds. What? These unique design elements are what allowed the plane to cruise higher and faster than any other manned aircraft. Its convertible engines give it the best of both worlds. A turbojet to take off, land, refuel, and bring it up to speed, and a ramjet to give it the power to fly 3,200 nautical miles at 3 times the speed of sound on 1 tank of gas. And considering that all that was designed with just a pencil, paper, and a slide rule, it makes the Blackbird even that much more of a technological achievement.
As I go around the country and try to visit and work with museums, there's whole new generations of young men and women that are absolutely fascinated by this airplane. I was blessed in the Air Force because I was lucky to fly a number of Lockheed products. Lockheed was always there to bring in new innovation that met our needs as warfighters so we could better do our job. You know, it's a great celebration that in 100 years has led to new vistas that who could have predicted.
Unfortunately, the Blackbird will never fly again. Although it outran every one of the 4,000 missiles fired at it during its missions, the cost to fly and maintain the aircraft was so great that in 1990, with the increased availability of surveillance and strike drones, the US Congress ordered the bird's retirement. 3 planes were reactivated in 1993 due to increased tensions in North Korea and the Middle East, but these planes were again retired in 1998. NASA continued to operate 2 SR-71s as scientific test platforms until they too retired the plane in 1999.
You may have heard at the end of 2013, Lockheed Martin proposed a successor to the SR-71 called the SR-72. Even if it is ever produced, it will still never break the SR-71's records. Though it's designed to fly at speeds from 0 to Mach 6, like many other recent advances in aviation, the SR-72 is a drone. Its turbojet engine for takeoff and landing is housed separately than its supersonic scramjet, leaving the J-58 and the Blackbird family to be forever unique, a fantastic and surreal memory in the history of aviation, the plane that dreams are made of.